If you are planning to take to the skies this summer, you must know that things are changing quite a bit. The world of air travel is never static, always moving and evolving, much like the planes we fly in. For 2025, airlines are rolling out a whole host of new rules and policies that could really catch you by surprise if you are not prepared. From the way you book your ticket to how you pack your bags and even what you do after the plane lands, the rule book is being rewritten. It feels like every week there is a new headline announcing a change that will affect our travel plans and our wallets. So it is more important than ever to stay informed and ahead of the game. These changes are not just minor tweaks here and there. Some are fundamental shifts in how major airlines operate. We are seeing everything from new fees for things that were once free to completely new systems for international travel authorization. Why all the changes, you ask? Well, it is a mix of things really. Airlines are constantly trying to manage costs, improve efficiency, and respond to global security concerns. Some changes are also a reaction to passenger behavior or even unfortunate incidents that have happened on flights. For us, the passengers, this means we need to be extra careful and do our homework before we even think about clicking that book now button. One of the most talked about changes recently came from Delta Airlines. They were found to be charging a solo traveler surcharge on certain routes. For example, a person flying alone from Atlanta to Los Angeles might have been quoted a price of $249, but if two people booked the same flight together, the price per person dropped to just $159. This practice, which seemed to target business travelers who often fly solo, caused a huge public outcry. People were not happy and they made their voices heard. The backlash was so strong that it seems Delta has now backed away from this pricing strategy on many of its domestic routes, which is a big win for solo flyers. This is just one example of how quickly things can change. It is a reminder that the price you see might not be the simplest story. Airlines are getting more creative with their pricing models, and it pays to be a savvy customer. The days of straightforward, all-inclusive fares are becoming a distant memory for many. Now we have to navigate a complex web of fare classes, add-on fees, and dynamic pricing strategies. But don't you worry, that is why we are here. We will walk you through the most important updates so you can fly smart and avoid any nasty surprises on your next trip. Let's talk about an airline that many people loved for its simple, customer-friendly policies, Southwest Airlines. For years, their bags fly free promise was a massive selling point. Well, get ready for a big change. For any flights booked on or after May 28, 2025, Southwest will start charging for checked luggage. Your first checked bag will now cost you $35, and a second one will be $45. This move brings Southwest more in line with its competitors, but it is a sad day for those of us who loved packing heavy without a care. Even their famous flight credits, which used to never expire, will now come with a 6 or 12-month expiry date. But that is not all from Southwest. The airline is also preparing to say goodbye to its unique open seating policy. You know the one, where you line up in groups and pick any available seat. Starting in 2026, they will switch to an assigned seating system. This means you will be given a specific seat number when you check in, just like on most other airlines. Of course, there will be options to pay extra for preferred seats like those with more legroom or a better position on the plane. This is a massive cultural shift for the airline and its loyal customers, ending an era of the friendly seating scrum. Meanwhile, United Airlines is getting much stricter with its check-in times. As of June 3, 2025, all passengers on domestic flights must be checked in at least 45 minutes before the scheduled departure time. This applies whether you are checking in online, on the app, or at the airport counter, and they are serious about this rule. If you show up to check in even 1 minute late, say 44 minutes before your flight, you will be denied a ticket. The airline has made it clear that its agents will not be able to make exceptions or override the system. So, the old advice of arriving at the airport early is now more of a strict command than a friendly suggestion. These changes from 3 of America's biggest airlines show a clear trend. Airlines are looking to streamline their operations and increase their revenue through what they call ancillary fees. For us travelers, it means we have to be more diligent. For Southwest flights, you might need to pack lighter or budget for bag fees. For United, setting an alarm to check in 24 hours in advance or leaving for the airport much earlier is the new normal. The key takeaway is that the old habits and assumptions we had about flying might not apply anymore, so always read the fine print before you book your ticket. If your travel plans include a trip across the pond to the United Kingdom, there is a very important new step you cannot miss. Starting from January 8, 2025, citizens from the United States and Canada, along with many other countries, will need to get an electronic travel authorization or ETA before they can travel to the UK. This is not a visa, but it is a mandatory pre-screening requirement. You have to apply for it online before your trip, and it costs £16, which is about $18. The good news is that once you have it, the ETA is valid for 2 years and covers multiple visits. Getting your UK ETA is a fairly simple process. You will need to fill out an online application, and most people get their approval within a few days. However, it is always best to apply well in advance of your travel dates, just in case there are any delays. The airlines will be responsible for checking that you have a valid ETA before they let you board your flight to the UK. If you show up at the airport without one, you will likely be denied boarding, and your whole trip could be ruined before it even begins. So, make this a top priority on your pre-travel checklist for any UK holidays or business trips. While the UK is implementing its new system, the European Union's much-anticipated travel authorization system, known as ETS, has been delayed once again. This system, which will also require Americans to apply online and pay a small fee to visit the Schengen area countries, was expected to launch soon. However, it is now not expected to be up and running until late 2026 at the earliest. So, for now, you can continue to travel to countries like France, Italy, and Spain without this extra step. But it is good to keep this on your radar for future travel plans, as it will eventually become a requirement. On another international note, if you are flying into Turkey, be aware of a new and strictly enforced rule. Turkish authorities are now issuing fines to passengers who stand up before the seatbelt sign has been switched off after the plane has landed. These are not small fines either. They can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars. Flight attendants are now required to report any passengers who violate this rule. This is being done for safety reasons, to prevent injuries that can happen if the plane has to brake suddenly on the taxiway. So, no matter how eager you are to get off the plane, stay seated until you get the all clear. Let's talk about something that is in almost everyone's bag, a power bank. These portable chargers are a lifesaver on long travel days, but the rules around them are getting stricter. Following a fire incident on a flight in early 2025, many airlines are rethinking their policies. Some airlines, particularly in Asia, have banned their use completely during the flight. Others now require you to keep your power bank in your personal item under the seat in front of you, not in the overhead bin. Southwest, for example, now states that you cannot use your charger while it is stowed in an overhead locker. It must be visible and within your reach. The best tip to avoid any trouble is to pack your power banks in your personal item like a backpack or handbag that you will keep with you at your seat. Do not pack them in your checked luggage, as that has been a rule for a long time due to fire risk in the cargo hold. And definitely do not leave them in a carry-on that you plan to put in the overhead bin. Keeping them with you ensures you are following the rules and can also react quickly if the device starts to overheat. It is a small change in packing habits that can make a big difference for safety. On a more positive note, a new partnership between United Airlines and JetBlue is set to launch in the fall of 2025, which is great news for travelers. This collaboration will allow you to book flights across both airlines on a single ticket, earn and redeem points on either carrier, and enjoy elite status benefits across the network. This will open up many more route options, especially for those flying in and out of the New York area, as the deal will give United more access to JFK Airport and JetBlue more access to Newark. This kind of partnership can lead to better connectivity and potentially more competitive fares for consumers. So as we navigate all these new rules and changes, the most important advice is simple. Always check the rules before you book and before you fly. Airline policies can change with very little notice. A quick visit to the airline's website can save you a lot of money and stress. From baggage fees and check-in deadlines to international entry requirements and in-flight safety rules, being an informed traveler is your best strategy. The landscape of flying is definitely changing in 2025, but with a little bit of preparation, you can still have a smooth, enjoyable, and hassle-free journey. Safe travels!